Right.
This is a good subject, anyway, I think.
Yeah. Okay, I think it's going. Here it is. Now we are. Looks like, I think we're live.
It's still not loaded yet, so I can't see, but I'll get there.
Yeah, we are. We're good. Cool. We just give it like 30 seconds for everybody to catch up. Cool. Oh.
Yeah.
So how was your day? You look nice, by the way.
Thank you. I had a busy day, but you know, just shopping and kind of fun stuff. It wasn't horrible, but just all the people and, you know, dealing with humanity right now is a bit much.
Oh, really? It's hot in Texas? Imagine that. Oh, shit. It's getting hot out here too. It sucks.
Sucks.
It's not as bad as Texas, but it's still kind of nasty right now. Well, we got a lot of people in here. That's cool.
I bet it's pretty where you are, like, for real.
Right on. So I'll just introduce the topic. Basically, this is like an old, if you guys have ever been in the Satanic forums, I know some of you have, it's like this topic gets kicked around a lot about Anton LaVey being a charlatan, and, or, you know, the argument that he's a godfather of Satanism. The other people argue that no, he just plagiarized everything and he's not really, that it's just basically a huckster type thing. So, I figured I've read all this shit. I've read every side of the story in the last 10 years on Sin and on 600 Club and everywhere else. But I thought it'd be cool if there's some live callers, especially if there's some that want to play take the card that, LaVey is really not deserving of the respect that he's been given. So we'll see if anybody wants to call in on that. But you can call in for any reason you want. You can call in to support or you can detract, or you can just call in to say, fuck off or whatever.
Not to me. No, I'm kidding. I'm muting this. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, so how do you know when someone is calling in? Does it beep or something?
Yeah, on my end it'll beep and I'll be able to plug them in the room.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, correct.
Yeah. So let's see. Let me catch up here. I'll catch up in the comments here while everybody's still catching up. Bam. So we got a legend, a warm-hearted entertainer who ended up a recluse due to the satanic panic and was greatly misunderstood. That's Grobnob. That's funny. That's his reading his messages. And let's see. So the call-in number, guys, is it's on the video description, and it's in the chat room, and it's in the comments underneath the video. And to call in, you just call the it's a US number. It says +1, but you don't need the +1. It's just like a cell phone. Just call it, the 10-digit number, and then it'll ask for a meeting ID, and then add that, and then what else? Yeah, and then I might ask for a password. Yep, it does. It's all there though. But that's it. That's it. Damn, I was hoping we have some some good old theistic Satanists in here, saying that he's not a real Satanist because he doesn't believe in the devil, or that's kind of what I was hoping to get in there. But
well, there's still time. It just started.
That is. So Venefica, tell our listeners what got you into did you start off as reading LaVey, or did you like stumble across him later on if you're studying the occult? Or
I definitely stumbled on him later on.
Oh yeah? What did you study before that?
Oh yeah.
What did you study before that?
Let me think of my timeline. I don't think there was anybody that, I can't remember anyone that was, unless it's just eluding my brain right now, but it was just more of like a trial and error thing, I guess, or just, like what I call like baby witchcraft. Like you'll do like the stuff that's in like the witchcraft cookbooks these days, like light a candle and say this, and you know what I mean? It wasn't until I got into some darker things that I decided to not go with the darker stuff right away and kind of start with LaVey, and then that led me there.
Right on.
I say darker, but you know what I mean. I don't know how to classify it really, but
I get it. Some kind of like kind of paganist, Wiccan type of stuff, kind of like astrology.
Yeah.
That's stuff that you find at Barnes and Nobles. Yeah, that's cool.
Right,
that's cool.
The stuff you find at Barnes and Noble. That's exactly it. Yeah.
right. That's kind of where I started too. But I was lucky that somebody introduced me to it really fast, so I didn't waste too many years dabbling around, dancing around trees or anything, or looking for fairies or anything. So which is good.
still never felt right doing that. Like, I don't know. I felt like I read some things, you know, but I really didn't like dive into anything the way I did. I almost say Crowley.
Real quick, I wanted to show you my shirt because you can't see because I'm sitting too low.
Let's see. I have my glasses. Hold on. I'm blind. Oh, it's the cute one. I think it's cute. Very cute.
Don't be so silly. Oh, that's an inside joke. I'm sure some of you get it though. Yeah. With LaVey, like some of the rumors that I heard a lot, like the ones that were the most slanderous were like the one that he like had an incestuous relationship with Xena, that he raped his daughter. It's hard to say. I know Stanton LaVey doesn't help because he perpetuates that rumor that he's actually half Anton LaVey's son and he's an incestuous offspring. But the people in the Church of Satan that I talked to, who were old and were around at that time, said that was in no way true. And the father was known. It was a half Asian guy who was a gardener who gardened like a few places down, but he disappeared because he was like 17 and she was like 14, or he was like 19. Or 13. So there's like a big age gap. So like they kind of hushed him away so that, you know, and then of course, people started saying it was LaVey's. But if you look at Stanton though, he kind of looks Asian. So I'm going to kind of go with the Asian gardener thing.
I also heard it was the gardener. So.
Real quick, before we get to Haldimor, I actually know what happened in Shrek's ear. I found this out from people that were around at the time still. Well, the rumor is that he got into like some sort of like mix up altercation, like, because he was passing out like anti-Semitic flyers and stuff like that at one of his things. But the real truth is, I mean, that's kind of a half truth, but it was something to do with him passing out anti-gay stuff at like a gay pride or the equivalent of a gay pride parade. And he got chased down the street and a bunch of gay guys held him down and ripped off his ear. That's what happened. So he says it's a gang fight.
I read an article about that, and I don't want to say like too much because I don't like to misquote things.
Sure.
But he if you Google it, there's a weird twist of fate that has to do with it at the end. I mean, I just don't want to misquote myself, and all that, but it's interesting.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely check it out. And and again, I'm getting this source from, obviously, unless somebody was there, they don't know, and the people that were telling me were around at the time, but who knows, right?
Oh no, this is just about like I think his medical care after the fact. It just kind of tied in with some other stuff. But as far as the ear coming off, your guess is as good as mine.
Oh, okay. Are you talking about the LaVey incestuous thing, or the Shrek thing?
No,
okay.
I'm talking about the ear.
Oh, the ear. Okay, I thought he grew it back like Mr. Potato Head, like boom, like regenerate. I think he regenerates himself like a. Well, he looks like
what's his name?
He kind of like
who? Bob Larson. He has a fake ear.
Bob Larson, the evangelist.
I said in the 97 interview, he has a fake ear on, I think. But
Shrek has a fake ear on. Yes, of course.
Yeah, we're talking about two different people.
Okay.
Yeah, Bob Larson.
No, I think Shrek's part salamander. I think he's learned up in the Buddha over there when how to regenerate limbs.
Well, I think he's amazed, so I believe it. He could do anything.
He might. I think he came back and learned the Zen magic of regenerating ears. But yeah, the other one that I heard about LaVey was what was the other one? Oh, that he would like beat animals. That he like would commonly mistreat his Dobermans, and he didn't care for his lion very well and stuff like that. And the only thing I can say to that is, what, you got to be pretty fucking stupid to beat a lion that you keep in your own house. I'm sorry, like I just don't see that happening. And they got rid of the lion because it got too fucking big. I mean, and I'm sure that you don't want that fucker like following you around everywhere. And when he's that size, I mean, but as far as beating his Dobermans, I mean, there's a fine line between disciplining security dogs and beating them, and it's weird because the people that perpetuate these rumors aren't like objective scholars. They're like people that are sour grapes about LaVey, people that were there, but like, they all have like a pretty clear meaning. I know this dumbass Paul Douglas Valentine, he was he'd like to do that a lot until we shut him down in the early 2000s, or I shut him down in early 2010s, whatever. And another guy, John Ali, like he had a big smear campaign against LaVey. think it might still be up there and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, but both those people are gone now. So, oh shit. I'm not looking at the questions. Nobody was gonna call in, huh? We got 18 people watching and nobody's gonna call in. I'll just keep talking. I'll fucking talk like this all goddamn night.
Yeah.
You've seen me do it. I'm not drunk enough yet though. Yeah. So I don't see him beating animals. I mean, what are the other ones? What other ones have you heard? You bring some up. Also heard he's a womanizer, like, you know, this and that. And then there's a Marilyn Monroe thing and the Jane Mansfield thing. We can get into all these. I mean, there's like a whole string of these. You know.
I mean, let's be real. They were, you know, I don't feel like he's a womanizer. I think he's a woman lover, and I think he attracted a certain type of woman. Mm-hmm. And nothing's wrong with that.
Yeah, I'm sure the type of women that gravitated towards Anton LaVey were probably pretty fucking batshit, but that's good.
I mean, I can definitely relate.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, Jane
the only thing I have heard is the deathbed confession that I just really 100% do not believe is true.
Yeah, that's not true. I actually talked to
not at all.
I actually asked Carla LaVey, that his daughter, who was actually one of the 2 or 3 people that were actually there at his side. I asked her at the Black Mass in San Francisco in 2014, or I think so, when I went up there that one time. And what she said, she didn't go into great detail, but I asked her about, is there any truth to that? And she said, my father died with his faith intact. And the last words he said is, I love, and I forget who he said, but I love you or something like that. So died with his faith intact. So no, there was no deathbed confession. And that's coming from the one person that was actually at his side when he took his last breath. So I think we can dismiss that. But, you know, it's funny how, you know, Christians will want to believe that. And it's like, how do these people know? It's like, I can't believe how stupid they are to be posting this. Like, yeah, he said, I repent at the end, you know, and he saw the light, you know, and he begged for his fucking soul. And it's like, even if that was true, how the fuck would you know that? There's no way you would know that. I mean,
no way.
I don't get
it. They kind of go off of blind faith though. So I don't know, you know.
That's true. It's true.
No offense, but they do like to believe anything and everything they want to believe. People do generally, but that faith specifically.
What about there was the Marilyn Monroe rumor too. I'm just going to run through them while we're waiting for callers. There's the Marilyn Monroe.
I only know that they had a tryst before either of them were something. That's what I thought, but I didn't follow that very.
Well, that's what was written in his biography, but I guess in reality, there was no evidence to say that where he claimed that they met, that Marilyn Monroe was even remotely, like, even in the general vicinity of, like, yeah, at the time. So maybe he made it up, you know, but you know, I guess the bottom line to that though is, like, of course he exaggerated, of course he embellished his stories, right? I mean, God, he was a circus performer, he was a carnival guy at one point. I mean, that's kind of what they do, you know. I mean, that's kind of like their trade. So of course he embellished his stories, but the thing is like, people try to use these embellishments of his, or like even like his plagiarism, where he plagiarized some of Might Is Right, like he did, like almost word for word, but not in the whole book, of course, but, you know, little bits and pieces. But like they try to use that to just be like, oh, see, that means Satanism it's not credible. Satanism is bullshit. Even the founder is a liar. And, you know, it's like, you know what? It's like LaVey is, you know, a person, right? He's a cult personality. Satanism and even the Church of Satan is much bigger than LaVey. And that would be like, you know, judging, you know, yeah, you can't judge a whole football team based on the actions of one player. And even his actions were really that bad. I mean, it wasn't like he was a secret Catholic or something, or raped boys, you know. It was like, oh, he exaggerated about fucking Marilyn Monroe. Oh, wow, guys have never done that before.
Yeah, so, he was saintly. So I think people that have everything negative to say about him have never read any of his works.
Yeah, exactly. Like they're like experts on his life. I'm just going to answer the oddball one. We were talking about Jane Mansfield, and then I switched to Marilyn Monroe real quick, which he never claimed to. I don't know if he claimed to have been lovers, but he says he left her scarf. Either way, those details are kind of irrelevant. But the Jane Mansfield thing was probably.
Nina, in my favorite interview, does say that they were definitely
a couple,
but she doesn't like to discuss that. But
that's interesting. It's really interesting, especially because Xena doesn't really talk real highly of him. So if she kind of suggests that they were lovers, maybe they are, because she's kind of suggested some kind of sinister shit about him too.
This was the interview back in 91 or something.
Okay.
I don't know, but I did hear that because I remember it standing out. So, okay,
That's
continuing your thought. My bad.
I'm just running through them, like, I mean, just, I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, even if Jane Mansfield was just hanging around a lot, because she liked the attention and whatnot, and I think,
Right.
even if they both played into it, I mean, look at how many Hollywood stars do that now. They pretend like they're couples and they're really not and shit. What I mean?
Exactly. And that was like the hot thing then, So I totally.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, think about that. That makes Jane Mansfield the fucking shit. I mean, if you're dating like the most sinister, evil man in the world, I mean, that's got to be good for her career. LaVey too. I mean, God, you can't be like more of a fucking pimp and be dating fucking Jane Mansfield. Shit.
Mansfield. Yeah.
Yeah. It's awesome.
But ultimately, it also led to her demise, But
yeah, that's one way to look at it. Yeah, the whole curse thing, that was interesting too. See, and that's another thing that could easily be played up. It's like a tragic car accident, or I mean, it's easy to run with the stories when I mean, I don't know either way. Maybe he did. Maybe it was completely 100% his curse. Maybe it was.
Xena said with her mouth, if you go back and watch the interview, that she was instructed to stay away from Sam Brody, and she did not, and that resulted in her death through a curse thrown by her father.
Right. Yep. It's also.
So I'm just saying, from her, I saw this. So it's just, I'm just going on that. But I mean, come on. I mean, he's a curse thrower. I would have listened, but I believe in that stuff. That's the difference, I guess. Some people don't,
Right. So nobody's going to call in, huh? Nobody wants to get in this conversation. Anybody? No.
I know someone would have like something to say or chit chat.
No, is there anyone here who I'm not reading any comments that are like, LaVey was a fucking ignorant motherfucker. I'm not reading anything like that, or I don't see any Christian comments either with anybody jumping in, which I was hoping there would be, so that we have somebody to to bounce off of. But looks like it's all going to be reasonably sounded, like-minded people in here right now.
Okay, Ricardo Price says he's trying to call in, but it's not working.
Oh, are you reading the comments?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Ricardo, I don't know what to tell him. There's the I called and it's been, oh shit. Okay, well, let me double check. I will double check, because that could be why nobody's calling. I did check the first time, but I'll check again. If anybody wants to confirm, you can hang up if it patches you through. I'll try it too. I turn my phone off, of course, and I gotta wait. I wish I had an iPhone. No.
Do you not have an iPhone? You have like 10 phones.
No. One for my bitches, one for my hoes. The one for. All right.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Let's see what we got here. I'm calling in, guys. Sorry about the dead air. If I talk and dial at the same time, bad things happen. Okay. 8592. What the fuck? Okay, there we go.
Welcome to Zoom. Enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
It says the Zoom hasn't started.
Oh, really? Hold on a second.
If you are the meeting host, please enter your host key followed by pound. If you are a participant, please press pound to continue. The meeting has not started.
Okay.
Please wait or try
okay,
again
guys.
later.
I gotta find I put the wrong code up. My bad. Something happened with that. Thanks, Ricardo, for telling me that. I can fix this really fast, though. But,
and then Ricardo can get through.
Okay, so
poor Ricardo.
Somebody stop fucking texting me. Okay. So while I do this, do something entertaining. No joking. Hold on. Okay. Oops.
I didn't have time to prep for all this. I don't have.
Right now you're on the spot. Okay. All right. Bam. Okay. Invites. This has got to be it. Let's see. Meditation.
I'm excited though to see how this works.
Yeah, this is it worked last night, but okay. I'm almost done actually. I just gotta post it up. Okay. So I'll put the new info down in the thing. Bam. So I think the only thing that was off is one of the numbers here. Come on, fucker. Okay, the meeting ID is what's okay. Here I just posted the new info. It's in the comments in the underneath the video. Let's see. Is that where to go? Okay, it's the most recent comment. The meeting ID is the one that's off, and that is that's the one that was wrong. So the new meeting ID, I'll post in the chat box where everybody's talking right now. So that the phone number is still the same, the first phone number, and then when I ask for meeting ID, this is a meeting ID right there. I just posted the 886 number. That's the meeting ID, and that's what was off. And I'll post the password too, just in case. But let's see. Yeah, password's different too. Okay, so we have a whole fucking different string of shit. So the phone number is correct, the initial phone number, and then that meeting ID, and then here's the password. Or you can look in the comments below the video. There's password.
I'm about to sneeze.
All right.
Oh, please don't do the praise Jesus comment.
What?
I mean, it might bring some light in here, but oh.
Oh, I don't even see it. Oh, I see it. Okay, I could do the praise Jesus. I recognize that name though. I think it's okay. So yeah, here's the.
I mean, yeah, I think he's totally cool. I'm just saying.
Yeah. All right, I'm still just setting this up here. So to get in, you can do this. Here's the 3 numbers you need, and I'll post them in the chat box where everybody's talking in the live chat. Right there, you can use that combination on phone number. It says New York, it doesn't really matter, and then the meeting ID and then the password, and then I'll post that in the comments again.
All right, yay!
All right,
let's do
cool.
it. Let's
Okay,
do it.
so what were we talking about again? No, I forgot. No, I'm joking.
We can just see whoever calls in what they want to say and then go.
Well, of course, but they may not be calling in right now.
Oh, damn! Call in.
Well, you know what was weird is like most of LaVey's detractors came out after he died. It's like because I was around in the Church of Satan. I had just joined the Church of Satan in 94, and he died in 97. Oh, here we got a caller. Hold on a second.
That's not fun.
We got a caller. Let me get over there and check in.
This is fun. I'm so excited to see the other two.
I know, right? I'm surprised no one's been calling to ask you questions. Okay.
I'm not cool.
Oh, I would. I totally fucking do it. All right. Looks like we got a 405 on the air. What's up, 405?
Hey, that's me.
Hey, what's up? Is this Ian?
Hey.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah,
How's
you
it
can
going?
hear me? I think there's kind of a little bit of lag.
Yeah, there's a little bit of
Yeah,
lag. There's an echo in the background too from whatever you're listening to. Are you there?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, I turned off the sound.
Cool. Yeah, you're good now, man. Sounds good. What's going on?
All
man?
right, awesome. Oh, not much. Just sitting in the house having some whiskey and stuff like that. As I said, I tried to call in earlier. I would have done it earlier, but I had to fact check myself really quick.
Oh, I know who this is now. Okay, this is Logan. What's up, man? It took me a second.
Yeah, what's up, dude?
It took me. This is my
Logan.
friend.
Okay.
Cool. And
Hey.
I'm gonna let another guy in here. So now we got a big old phone party. This 774 is in here too. How you doing, 774?
There's gonna be multiple calls.
I think so.
Whoa. Okay.
So 774. Hi, can you hear us?
Yo,
Yo.
Yo.
Yo, bro. How you doing, bro?
this is a lot of more. This is a lot of more.
A lot of more. A lot of more what?
A lot of more ASMR.
Oh, right. Oh, okay. That was a joke.
Okay, I see the name.
Cool.
I see the name.
Okay. So let's let Logan and the new guy take it since we're talking in circles.
Yeah.
Well, Logan, what do you think, man? What do you think about the LaVey hating crowd? Do you think that they have reason to like throw doubt on his stuff, or do you think it matters?
Well, all right. So your LaVey haters are going to come from two different camps, right? You're going to have obviously the theistic Satanists that think he was a carny and don't like that very much, right? You have people coming from that angle, and you also have people who think that Satanism itself is a CIA-created cult. And so those are your two groups of LaVey haters that are the most prominent. Now, the idea of Satanism and the CIA having some involvement in Satanism comes from Michael Aquino's presence in the earlier part of Satanism. But one thing about them is they're not very original, and so they were trying to finance a lot of stuff that was keeping the Satanic Panic going back then, because that had a lot of different connotations with the CIA was very right leaning back then. They kind of liked the Satanic Panic, if I'm making any sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so, and a lot of the rumors that came as a result of Aquino being involved were that LaVey was also involved in the McMartin preschool thing, which Aquino wasn't even involved in, and that was proven pretty conclusively. And but yeah, that's the angle that a lot of people think that LaVey didn't come up with a lot of the stuff he did, and that he was taking something else somebody wrote. That's not true. He wrote everything associated with the Church of Satan, including Satanic Bible, and a lot of the stuff that's attributed to him. That's his original work, and that's provable.
There is one thing, Logan, though, in the Satanic Bible, that it was like, I think it's the Book of Lucifer, the Book of Satan. There's a pretty obvious part that was taken from Midas Right. Like he might have changed like one or two words out of a whole paragraph. But as far as the other stuff, like, I mean, you can hold two books next to each other and see it. But is it plagiarized enough to like it's not unique? No, it's not. He's taken like a paragraph.
Yeah.
Like that. It's not.
Well, and
like,
he directly owned up to that when it was brought up. He said, "Yeah, I included that in there from that." He wasn't
right.
bashful about it.
Absolutely, and people don't realize that because in the first edition of the Satanic Bible, he gives credit to Regnar or whatever, Redbeard or whatever his name was. So,
well, yeah, and there was an interview they did with him where he owned up to it too, and it didn't seem to bother him at all.
Right. I think that was just his detractors trying to like blow away out of proportion and be like, "Oh, look, he didn't even write the Satanic Bible." It's like, no, he did. And but
yeah, it's definitely a lot of his original work, especially like the 9 tenets and everything like that. He came up with that. People say Aquino came up with that. That's not true.
Okay, see, I never heard of that. I didn't hear anything about Aquino being involved with the Satanic Bible. I just heard like the inner workings of the Church of Satan, but obviously they left for a reason, right? Because apparently Aquino didn't feel like he was getting enough involvement or whatever.
Well, Aquino was a different animal in itself.
What
Aquino wanted to do was he wanted to. There were some intelligence community goals that he wanted to accomplish through Satanism, and that came at odds with LaVey, because LaVey thought that Satanism is not about politics and it's not about the military, and if you want to do military and political stuff, go somewhere else, basically. And that's what he did, and founded the Temple of Set.
Okay. I also heard that he was I thought he was more of a theist too, and would put a little bit more emphasis on greater magic and ritual than LaVey wanted, or believed in real deities,
he did
entities and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, he did. And LaVey thought that was dangerous for a lot of different reasons. So as an occultist myself, I have this argument with other occultists that, look, if you don't know absolutely everything about the entity you're operating with, you shouldn't operate with it. And Aquino was very experimental, and LaVey didn't like that.
What's new guy? What's your name? I forgot. I can't pronounce your name. Are you still listening?
Yo, Holodomor.
Holodomor. What's up, man? What's your thought on that?
Yeah. What's up? I don't know, man. I used to be a LaVeyan Satanist when I was like 15, and honestly, no disrespect, but I think Satan's kind of retarded. Like, I'm about like the goth bitches and everything, but at the end of the day, like, you can improve your life without being wrapped up into this fucking bald guy who owned a lion. Like, you feel me? Like, I mean, that's my thought.
Right.
Well, that is true. I mean, there are some elements of Satanism that are kind of campy and kind of that are outdated and kind of pompous. And I mean, they're pretty obvious. I mean, and yeah, you can take the general principles of Satanism and strip away the Halloween costumes, and and still have a pretty simple philosophy without calling it Satanism, without the devil horns and
Yeah, I mean, self-respect is important and shit like that. I mean, becoming a better person and not taking shit. I mean, that's all good values, but I feel like people get involved in this other shit that has nothing to do with that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, the potential for that's huge, and we got to remember what time period this started in. So that was really edgy in the '60s. Like you guys know what I'm talking about. Like all kinds of stuff we just like take for granted today was edgy as fuck in the '60s.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, I think a lot of it might have been the timing. Like, because like if you look at like the general principles of Satanism and what most Satanists think and believe, just in general as a whole, the majority of people under the age of fucking 25 that don't live in the fucking Bible Belt in America kind of have that same attitude anyway. So but I think maybe back in the 60s though, maybe it wasn't as like that. Maybe it was, maybe that was like just really fucking far out. Maybe we were just really fucking cutting edge and rebellious, and who knows? But yeah.
Well, and that's why I think he was actually able to get a lot done on the occult sphere, is because there was a lot of belief in what he was doing back then, and it hit people a lot differently than it does now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you think Anton LaVey was just trying to get laid, though?
Of course he was trying to get laid.
Of course.
And he did. But
yeah, he was successful.
No shit. I mean, I might even shave my head and run around in a cape and horns and shit if he got me laid all the time.
I mean, that's like the human drive anyway, right? So totally.
I mean, I straightened my hair in high school to get laid. I mean, it's we all did something,
right? Oh man, yeah. When I got involved in Satanism when I was a teen, I mean, this was back in during the Satanic Panic in the late '80s, early '90s, right? I graduated high school. Well, I would have in '94, so. But like it was all about like this is before death metal. I mean, maybe death metal was there, but it wasn't big. This is like it was like we're talking like King Diamond, Slayer, that was big, Merciful Fate and shit. And it was that was kind of like heavy metal was fucking Satanism. That Motley Crue even had.
Oh yeah, King Diamond got those church moms in the South mad.
Oh, Motley Crue. Oh, Motley Crue. I love Motley Crue.
So what is it now? It's
that
like
hit a soft spot.
Like death metal is like ushered in a whole new interest in Satanism. Granted, 1 out of every 100 persons with a behemoth shirt on or whatever is actually going to bother to read the Satanic Bible. But hey, 1 out of 100 ain't bad.
Right.
I don't know. Marilyn Manson probably ushered in quite a bit too, and now it's Ghost. Ghost is the new one.
I agree.
So.
Yo, when I was in jail, I met someone with a fucking. When I was in jail, I met someone who was into death metal who tried to cut someone's head off with a fucking sword. So
sweet.
I mean, you can't put that, Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and unfortunately, some people just have to go full retard with
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's like I've seen people go down this weird spiral, especially when you get drugs involved and like they think they're this ultra powerful satanic magician. And I've seen some shit, man. I saw one kid that cut himself so many times he had to go to the ER like on multiple occasions, and his arms looked like a fucking horror movie. And let's see, I knew another guy that used to like literally eat live snakes. Like he'd go buy little baby snakes and eat them live.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I tell you, dude, I've seen some shit like hanging out, especially in like Satanist and occult circles. You will meet some weird motherfuckers and immediately know why they're there.
But what do you feel like is being achieved with like the whole occult thing though? Like, what do you get out of it? I mean, you could just do push-ups instead, right? Like you get like the same thing, right?
Well, it depends. It depends.
If you are true occultist, you get to know yourself. That's the key.
Yeah, it's more about personal development than anything. If you try to do anything, what you're doing occult-wise with yourself is like similar to meditation and other things. It focuses the mind and orders the mind, and Yeah, it gives you more motivation, and I call it the placebo effect on steroids. That's what I believe magic really is. And I'm not one of the guys who takes a religious slant to it.
Why do you
How
call
old
magic,
are you, Logan?
I'm 28.
Oh my God. I feel like I could listen to you talk like all day. You were like, I thought you were older than me. That's crazy. Very smart, I think. Very well read.
Yeah, I've had to in this that's from having to explain myself calmly in a lot of arguments with people that aren't as like-minded as we are, and so I got kind of a skill at the whole speaking and teaching thing. I used to actually preach back when I was younger.
Well, you know,
wow.
Satanism is being an aspect or a particular splinter of the left-hand path, which is all about, you know, development from within and, you know, achieving understanding of yourself through within instead of looking from without. And you know,
you should explain left-hand path for the audience.
I don't really feel like doing that right now, but no, I could. I mean, I think most people know, but yeah, I mean, left-hand path as opposed to the right-hand path. The right-hand path being looking for answers and happiness from an external source, usually of a god of some sorts, whereas the left-hand path would be using working with tools to help you understand yourself better and through empowerment through within, and in order to then manipulate your surroundings to achieve your desired results.
Right.
It could go into more detail, but off the top of my head, and Satanism is just kind of an empowerment tool, you know, one aspect of that. There's other different things that are left-hand path, you know, other different philosophies and religions, but Satanism is the one that I think is probably the most popular, at least in the United States. I'm aware.
Well, yeah, and it goes with a very American attitude too. And I noticed that a lot of Satanists are former Christians and actually do get a lot of spirituality out of it, and I can explain why. Actually, most of the former Christians that get involved in Satanism were Protestants, and if you know anything about Protestants and Catholics, Protestants are all about denying priestly authority and going straight to the source. Well, you can have that frame of thinking with the occult, and that's kind of how Satanism and left-hand path works. See, I see all these like soy yoga occultists. Like I had to get rid of a friend recently that was involved in that, and it's just like they got to do all these different things. They evoke all these different gods, jump through 20 hoops, do 50 push-ups, and 500 yoga positions before they get an occult experience. And you know, there's, and if you think about it even more deeply on a psychological level, there's anything that you get out of a ceremony, a ritual, or even a mentality always comes more from within, and it's even admitted in Crowley's work. Like if you read Yoga Demystified by Crowley, you'll notice what he says. He repeats this phrase, yoga is union. And what he means by that is yoga is union with your will.
Okay. Venefica, I'm waiting for you to chime in there.
I am really digging
sorry.
Slogan Kid. I'm like, dang, he's got a lot to say. I'm taking it in. That's all.
Oh, okay.
I'm a bit buzzed, but I'm taking it in.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I was gonna answer. Go ahead, Logan. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna answer
you first. You first.
I was gonna answer. I'm trying to catch up on the comments in the chat room that people are asking. I think Casey said something like, "What would you say the percentage of people that understood higher magic as opposed to people that go off the deep end?" What would you say that percentage?
Ooh, that's how many understand it versus how many go off the deep end.
Yeah.
Could you really?
Is that a question for me?
It's just a general question in the chat room.
You can answer it. Yeah.
You guys can take it.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry. I have I'm not even near my laptop right now. Well, okay. So first you need to understand the difference between higher and lower magic. And I don't think there is one. I've argued about this with other occultists back and forth for years. They're always claiming that their magic is high magic and that my magic is not. And they argue with each other like this all the time. And like, imagine, for example, I heard a voodoo guy and a Thelemite arguing about this. And the voodoo guy claimed his was higher because it was older. And the Thelema guy claimed that his was more accurate, and that was what their argument was about.
What the fuck?
Yeah. I ended up noping out of that. I ended up noping out of that chat room pretty quickly.
So I had a girlfriend who was in the occult, and she actually tried to like murder me, like stab me to death. It's like that was
Holy shit.
that was one of my experiences. Yeah.
You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, I'm sitting here like.
Well, I mean, long story
question.
short, you know, bitch was crazy. She had all these like weird satanic like geometric symbols and shit, and she kept telling me like, you don't get it. It's about like the power within or some shit. And one day she just decided she wanted to try to murder me. So yeah.
She didn't
Holy
read the book.
shit.
Oh man.
Well, that's yeah. Well, what I tell people about blood sacrifice in general is it's not modern magic. it's very it's like that's like country bumpkin barbarian magic right there. If you got to kill somebody, you're obviously a pretty weak magician.
It's biblical,
yeah,
right?
definitely.
Am I getting a lag? Okay, never mind.
That was my fault. My thing was off.
Okay, all good. I just didn't know if I had cut off or something.
I was going to throw a little thing about the magicians though. Is I see a lot of people who claim to be, you know, these great magicians and claim, you know, to have a great understanding of magic, you know, higher magic or greater magic, but yet just can't quite hold the fucking job. Just can't quite figure out how to pay the bills. So they're still buying bus passes and food stamps. You know, it's like, come on, where's this cult magic? You know, kind of like I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to piss anybody off right now, but.
Well, I mean,
Yeah,
that's an indicator.
I didn't hear that. All right, go ahead, Logan.
That's well, I was saying that's an indicator that you're well, maybe either one or two things. You're doing your rituals for the wrong reason, or you're doing your rituals the wrong way. And there's a lot in there that I shouldn't really get into because it would take too long. But as I said, focus is the key thing in there.
I think a good yardstick for the success of a magician and his abilities would be what he's done in his life to improve it and to make himself happy and content.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like
I concur with that.
Nobody really wants to, you know, buy, you know, be on welfare and buy fucking, you know, food at Walmart with your food stamp or EBT card, right? And if you're a magician, well, you're doing something wrong if you're still doing that, because there's no way that's making you happy. I'm not saying that, you know, you don't need to drive a Porsche and live in a mansion. I mean, you know, financial materialism isn't necessarily a yardstick for success, but you definitely wouldn't be living in poverty. You know what I'm saying? So.
Right.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of stuff to that.
But
how do I increase my mana pool? Like, how do I increase my like magic bar to like use more magic?
Well, there really isn't one. As I said, focus is what's going to bring you closer to what you need. And the more you are focused when you're doing any ceremony or ritual, and the more you think about it, and the more you, there's this concept of do everything you can possibly do to make it happen physically, and then do a ritual, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
How do I learn like spells and shit? Like, do you have like spells?
Make up your own. Free form magic is the new modern way to do it. You don't need all the old systems. I'm a firm believer in that.
Yeah, man. I don't think there's any. I don't think there's any magic potions or magic spells. I don't think it's that easy. If it was, everybody'd be doing it.
Everyone would be doing it.
Yeah,
I would too.
Well, there's definitely books trying to tell you how to do that, but
yeah, I get what Logan said. That's pretty much the consensus of like, that's kind of what LaVey was kind of coming from. If you start to get into where he was coming from with magic too, is that it's not necessarily the invocations or, you know, that have a lot of power, or the daggers or the trappings or the altar or the candles. It's those things aligned with the magician's will and the magician's ability to use those things, those tools, to put himself in a position to be able to focus his will and energy into manifesting itself into something productive. I don't know, it's very vague, man. It's almost about the same as prayer to me, but I mean,
well, it's so similar that I make fun of Christians whenever they get mad at me for practicing the occult. I'm like, you practice the occult too, you just do an easier version.
yeah.
And just look at the imagery LaVey used, for example. Like he was big on imagery, and that's big when you're doing a ritual. Imagine being in one of those rituals, and like, you know, this is the first like kind of magic-y thing you've ever done, and you do it at LaVey's house around all that shit. Like, you'd feel powerful.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So, back on the LaVey thing, guys, as far as, I mean, can you guys think of anything else that you might have heard other than, I mean, I think I covered them all with the incestuous thing, the womanizer or woman beater. And so what, the guy, he did get arrested, and there was a police report about a domestic violence charge, but that was like back in the 60s. And I don't know, a lot of people get arrested for domestic violence. I had a domestic violence charge at one point, and it's like, apparently you can't throw your own cell phone in your own apartment in front of somebody, because then it's threatening and intimidating.
And girls lie sometimes. Let's be real,
Yeah, people lose their temper. I mean, I don't think it's one thing to like throw your cell phone or push somebody, and it's a different thing to throw them down the stairs. You know what I'm saying? It's like this, so we don't even know what happened, right? So like, she stayed with him, so maybe he lost his temper and slapped her. That wasn't very uncommon back then, actually.
Probably.
Well, we got to remember, LaVey loved the sauce, man. He was a big drinker.
Really? Because that's not what I heard.
I did not know that. Huh?
I didn't know that either. Anyway,
we got to cancel LaVey.
Hey, I mean, yeah. So that's I mean, it's just, God. There's been some people, man, that are just like trying to make their own kind of way into Satanism, or get their own name for themselves by like just shitting on him. And I think that's just kind of shows that they really don't have anything to bring to the table that's unique. So they're just going to like spend, like just shit on LaVey. I'm the real McCoy. It's like Eminem. Well, the real Slim Shady, please stand up. It's like, it just shows you how old I am. Oh, shit. Well, does anybody else have anything to say about LaVey? I mean, I'm just trying to steer it back on to something about LaVey or the Church of Satan. No?
Well, we could talk about
Yeah.
What's with the Peter Gilmore guy? Is he still there? Or what's going on with that guy? He's fast.
Oh, don't even get me started on Peter fucking Gilmore.
Yeah.
Peter Gilmore, he's currently the high priest of the Church of Satan. He wasn't supposed to be, but he was Blanche Barton, who ended up winning the Church of Satan in a lawsuit against Carla LaVey. They were fighting for the estate in the Church of Satan. She won, and then out of a gesture of respect, because Peter Gilmore supported Blanche Barton and her son, which is Satan Xerxes Carnacki LaVey, or AKA Eric Burton now, and basically she's like, oh, thank you, here's the Church of Satan. And that's kind of what happened, and that was the end of the Church of Satan, pretty much. So that's what.
He's still in charge?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, you know what? You're going to love I'm not even going to say the name because he's a nice guy, but if you think Gilmore is doesn't quite suit the role, I know who the predecessor to Gilmore is going to be. I know who this is, but I'm not going to tell you.
I remember you telling me that.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So, well, we could talk about Xena too. We haven't talked about Xena very much. She's done a little bit.
Xena.
Yeah.
We got about 6 minutes, guys. So whatever you guys want to talk about.
Yeah, I'll talk about Xena all day long. I love her, but
go for it.
No, I'm saying say what you're gonna say. Like I'm done with the subject. I've already said that,
I thought I love the conspiracy theories about Xena LaVey, that Taylor Swift is actually Xena LaVey. I've heard that one a bunch of times. I'm just like, They do.
How do they look similar? That is crazy,
Yeah. But she was a good daughter, though. She supported him when he was getting a lot of public flack, and even came on she even came on Geraldo Rivera with him, which was a ballsy move for her.
I didn't even know he was on Geraldo Rivera. I'm gonna go search that thing out.
Yeah, I don't know what year. Zach, were you around for that? That was a bit before my time.
A little bit before my time. I was around for that, but that was like probably a couple years before I was probably like 10 years old or 11 years old. Right? So a few years before my time. Yeah, I remember that. I remember though. I do remember seeing that though somewhere.
If you were 10, I was like 1, I think.
Right.
Damn, I don't remember it at all.
Yeah.
Why did Nicholas Shrek become a Buddhist? What happened with that?
Well, they do practice some type of Buddhism, don't they? Some tantric.
It's not exactly Buddhism. It's a type of Buddhism. It's more like a darker, sinister form of Buddhism. It's basically it's very left-hand path. I don't know a lot about it, but it's basically what they would consider to be several steps beyond Satanism in their development. So Satanism is a stepping stone for them, which is what it should be for everybody, because in all reality, LaVey and Satanism is pretty primitive and it's pretty basic, but it does give you the right tools and it does help open the door. And if you continue down that path, most people will end up going on to something else that's a little bit more advanced, in my opinion. But that's what they do.
But what's the step after Satanism, though? Because, like, aren't you still at the bottom of the stairs if you're still a Satanist?
Some could say that. I mean, some could say that, but it depends. I mean, compared to who? Compared to somebody who still believes in fairy tales, or compared to somebody who still feels repressed guilt. I mean, I don't know. I mean, or just compared to like a regular atheist, who doesn't feel the need to identify as a Satanist. I mean, and really at the end of the day, isn't a Satanist just pretty much an atheist? I mean, or at least an agnostic of some sort. I mean, at least they're not God-fearing, right? I mean, they've kind of escaped.
Well, it's closer to agnostic, I think.
They don't think of in the concepts of good and evil, right and wrong, God, devil, heaven, hell. But I don't know, man. It's a matter of perspective, I guess.
People actually believe in Satan and like worship Satan as in like the Bible sense. Like, is that like a real thing?
Some people.
Yeah, people obviously do.
Not many though. That's probably maybe 10% or 5% of people who identify themselves as Satanists.
Those guys are the real edgelords right there.
Edgelords.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means. What does edgelord mean? I don't even know what that means.
It means you're trying to be edgy on purpose, and it looks stupid.
I got you.
I didn't know.
See, she didn't know either. We're too old. We're too old. That's why.
We're too old for this lingo.
That's why.
I don't know it.
Is that like some gaming term? Is that a code for something? I don't know. All right, guys.
Yeah, I don't know.
Somebody's mentioned David Myatt in the comments. I wanted to talk about David Myatt.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. Where's David Myatt? Go ahead. Let's wrap it up with David Myatt.
All right. Well, David Myatt's a really cool guy. You can go on the ONA website and read some of his work. I think he went a little bit crazy towards the end, but I do believe he was probably the author of that stuff. And this guy was crazy. I mean, but the rituals he came up with are really cool. And I don't know exactly how much involvement he had with ONA, but somebody still runs that website, I think. So, there's a lot of mystery surrounding him.
You talking about Opie and Anthony?
No, Order of Nine Angles.
Oh, Order of Nine Angles.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
All right, guys. I'm going to end this because I'm trying to keep it under an hour. We're right there. So YouTube has YouTube like puts you in a different class of shit if you're like over an hour. And
it's been an hour already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, if I keep it under an hour, like keeps you like closer to like the front and center. If it goes over an hour, they like throw you like into the ethers, never to be seen again. All right, guys.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for calling in.
Thank you.
All right, guys. I'll see you guys
later.
Bye.
That was a legit fun.